Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Ambassador's Lounge. Today we are going to discuss a very significant development that has taken place last week on Friday, 20th of June. In China, a trilateral meeting between Pakistan, Bangladesh and China took place at the level of deputy foreign ministers, in which quite a lot of subjects were discussed for cooperation between the three countries. This development has taken place at a time when Middle East was passing through a very crucial phase in its history, and the cooperation between the three countries is being seen as a significant shift in the regional dynamics. It has also caused a lot of jitters in some quarters, particularly in South Asia, where it is being seen as a cooperation, security cooperation, particularly against a big country there. Today we are going to talk about this subject with my panelists, Ambassador Tanveer and Ambassador Amjad Sher. Let me start by asking you, gentlemen, how do you look at this situation? Is it really a cooperation that is targeted against some countries, or it is a kind of a benign cooperation where it is being led by China for the development of two of its very close neighbors and its close allies, Pakistan and Bangladesh?
Well, thank you very much, Ambassador Ayaz. It is indeed a very positive and significant development. After Pakistan, Afghanistan and China trilateral meeting, this is the second of the kind that has taken place very recently. And the very objective of this meeting, as it appears in the media and newspapers, is that China is trying to build blocks of cooperation with its neighboring countries through connectivity, through infrastructure development, through digital economy, agriculture. There are diverse fields there is.
Yes.
And this is first ever meeting that Pakistan, Bangladesh are in with the diplomatic efforts of China. It is taking place, and China has offered this. It can also be called the South Asia strategy of China. Mm-hmm. Maybe there are some jitters being felt by the neighboring countries, especially India. India calls it a ring fence of India via building small trilateral meetings or groups or alliances. But I think China is trying to focus more on infrastructure development through and the principle of this alliance or alignment is first is obviously openness, second is that it is going to be inclusivity and trust, and more important is focus on economic development, infrastructure, connectivity. Obviously this region, with China is also neighboring South Asia, Southeast Asia, has been suffering from economic downturn from a very long time. And China is the only now emerging economic power in the region. China wants that it's not only for it to be economically developed, but its neighbors should also share and taste the fruit of development. So that is the spirit behind it.
Tanveer?
Yes, thank you. I think we have to see it from other point of view also, in a way that in this region we were always talking of SAARC, which is a dead organization as of now. Mm-hmm. And to replace SAARC, I think Indians took initiative, and including Bangladesh and all, a BIMSTEC was, it
was launched,
and that started moving on almost parallel to ASEAN kind of a thing. Initially, China, if you see, has been doing a lot of arrangements or agreements with bilaterally the countries which are bordering China and on South Asia. Now with this new development, definitely, as Amjad mentioned, that it would have created kind of a impatience or some kind of a thing that I know China is up to something else. But in a way that Pakistan, China already has a lot of cooperation, and a lot of things are going on. And Bangladesh, which was part of Pakistan at some time, was also a place which was known to the Chinese. Now coming up with new subjects which Amjad has mentioned, I think it's going to definitely help in our region, and also with the change till the time elections takes place in Bangladesh, and let's see how things go at that time, because our neighbors are already not very comfortable with how the relations between Pakistan and Bangladesh are moving as of now. So we have to, I think, wait and see for some time, because they expect the elections to be held next year. How things are they going to continue in the same spirit, and the way it has, the Chinese have taken initiative and brought Pakistan, Bangladesh, which were also doing things on bilateral basis, on a trilateral basis, how do they work? So it's too early right now to really come out with some kind of a picture that how will it emerge. So we might have to wait a bit.
Okay, an interesting aspect of this trilateral meeting is that it has taken place after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina from the helm of affairs, who was very clearly tilted towards India, and there was very little space for China to actually do anything worthwhile in, although China was involved in some infrastructure development. The trade was going on between Bangladesh being the biggest, China being the biggest trade partner of Bangladesh. They have about $18.5 billion bilateral trade, which is very, very heavily in favor of China, about 16 billion. But besides on the face of it, while it appears that trade and development, and cooperation in various other fields are the main subjects of this trilateral cooperation, but why China has moved now? Is it because that the interim government in Bangladesh is now moving away from the yoke of India and is seeing China as an emerging power, not only in the region but in a multipolar world? Of course, China is growing in stature day by day. So is it because of this significance of China that interim government in Bangladesh has not only moved closer to Pakistan but also closer to China, and this is definitely quite alarming for India particularly? How do you look at that?
Well, in the first place, during Hasina Wajid period, it was China was also having good relations with Bangladesh, and it was also having trade and bilateral relations going on, but not with that speed and not with that level. After the ouster of Hasina Wajid in August 2024, China found for itself a space that can be filled by entry into the economic field, like investment, like trade, like defense cooperation, like cultural and educational cooperation. But now China has also realized that it should not only try bilateral, but why not try the trilateral forum by involving some other partners. Obviously, Pakistan is a long friend of Bangladesh, but during Hasina period that friendship had dampened, and now after 50 years Pakistan and Bangladesh have now started shipping, commercial shipping and trade through shipping. So that is the another development which is quite encouraging and positive. So that's why I see that India and Dr. Yunus, the interim, caretaker advisor, he has also visited recently China, and he had a lot of, discussions and MOUs and agreements with China during that, and that was quite after Hasina Wajid. I don't remember that Hasina Wajid might have ever.
But Amjad, there is some reason, for concern by India because of this cozying up of Bangladesh towards China, because you mentioned that in March, Dr. Yunus visited China and many MOUs were signed. But at the same time, Dr. Yunus remarked that, that Bangladesh is the sole guardian of Bay of Bengal, and which is hinting towards the chicken's neck, as it is being called, that the access of those seven sisters in India, northeastern states, is only possible through Bangladesh, and also that Bangladesh is purportedly has agreed to give Lal Munir Ghat, the landing strip, to China, which has caused a lot of alarm in India, because some very important assets of Indian defenses are very close to Lal Munir Ghat landing strip, and if Bangladesh actually hands it over to the Chinese, then it will certainly raise a lot of alarms there.
In my view, in this point of time, India feels itself isolated, as in the past it had been playing the hegemon role, which its neighboring countries, like even a small country like Bhutan, had also feared. Nepal, it did not have good relations. Even Maldives did not have good relations. Obviously, Bangladesh also felt itself under the subjugation of India, and even so much so that all those, big decisions were not taken by the Hasina Wajid government, but by India itself. So that's why that was the reason that now Bangladesh has realized its significance and also its importance in the region, and has offered that it is going to play an independent foreign policy, independent of the Indian influence.
Tanveer, this is being said that it's a tectonic shift in regional dynamics. Pakistan, Bangladesh and China moving closer to each other, Pakistan being the largest importer of Chinese armaments, and now the defense cooperation between Bangladesh and China is also growing. Bangladesh has also emerged as one of the biggest importers of Chinese armaments, and also that there are certain military hardware, including surface-to-air missile agreement has been concluded between Bangladesh and China, medium-range missiles and some other naval patrol boats, etc. So the cooperation is increasing, and also General Kamrul Hassan, if I remember correctly, his name is also due to visit in a couple of days to China. Now this obviously is being seen as encircling of India by the three states. How do you look at this situation?
Well, you rightly pointed out, you have to understand that though they say there's, Bangladesh has no difficulty in terms of defense, or they feel threatened by their neighbors, but getting defense equipment, definitely there has to be some background to all that. If you remember that, China is always portrayed on bilateral that, they give you aid and all, and a lot of loans, and Western media is always portraying that, if you remember it happened in Sri Lankan case, the port of Hambantota, with a lease of 99 years and a lot of funds were provided for them. And similarly in Bangladesh also on the ports, things that happened. Now, because as you said, everything was being controlled by New Delhi, so Bangladesh now, probably the present setup felt independent, and they thought of why not, whatever their thought process or their defense forces or their defense establishment wants to have it for their own protection. Because you never know, friends can convert into enemies in no time, like it happens anywhere in the world. So buying this, I'm sure India must be lot of perturbed for that point, for that matter, that why they are buying so much of equipment and all those, because I'm sure Chinese must have given some kind of incentive or some policy description of the region and all that. And as you were talking of the chicken neck thing, which is basically bordering Nepal, and China is next to Nepal, and a lot of things are going on in that region. So should be little worrisome for India, but Bangladesh being an independent country, I'm sure they know what they're doing and for their best.
One thing more I would add to his remarks, that for the last 50 years the Bangladeshi army has not been very outspoken. I would say that had not been openly playing its role in the strategic defense of Bangladesh, and it all remained on the economic and military aid of India. Now Bangladesh army has also realized, which I think according to some estimates it says around 70,000, but it may be more than that. You have remained in Bangladesh, so you may be well aware about the number and strength of the Bangladesh army. So its military strength was not that much good. That's why it realized that now it should have also some military strength, in the sense that it can defend itself against any hegemonic designs by a neighboring country.
Okay. Well, one more point of concern for India perhaps is that since the main theme of this cooperation seems to be trade and economic cooperation between the three countries for the development of particularly Bangladesh and Pakistan being two developing countries, it is being seen askance by the Indians, because they think that China is perhaps going to dominate the Bay of Bengal. China has also been awarded contracts for upgradation and development of Chattogram and Mongla ports, and Pakistan has also sent, after 50 years break, its goods to Bangladesh. About more than 1,000 containers have been sent there, between October and now. And it is being seen that their Chittagong port particularly will be connected by the Chinese with Gwadar port in Pakistan, which is going to definitely give access of Chinese goods through Bangladesh and Pakistan to the rest of the world. So it is definitely another alarming situation for the Indians. What do you think about that?
It is part of the China's Road and Belt Initiative, connecting ports and roads, the countries, neighboring countries, through ports and roads. So by China investing more on the development of ports and also on rail link and road links, I think that is the strategy of China to develop its infrastructure of neighboring countries, and that is also going to help China to promote its trade and commercial activity, instead of going through to the North American. Obviously now Europe and North America has also isolated China through its by sanctioning on the imports of most of its items, like automobiles and garments and so many machinery and chemicals, and so that is also the initiative to promote its trade through these initiatives.
Tanvir, one more thing is that all this is happening while a temporary government is in place in Bangladesh. Chinese being very wise people, why would they invest into a government which is not going to last longer than 7, 8 or maybe 10 months from now? Are they so sure that as and when the elections will be held in Bangladesh, and whoever is elected to govern Bangladesh will also carry this legacy with it, and will honor the agreements that have that have taken place right now?
Well, if you see that, mostly whenever the agreements and all these things, the government structure remains same. It is the same civil servants or the military officers or whatever who are doing all these arrangements. And I'm sure Chinese must be studying what is happening right in the political parties, and which direction are the people heading and all those things. So I'm sure they must have done kind of a study. If they expect that tomorrow elections happens and again the Sina Wajid party or somebody else comes back, definitely there's going to be a reaction to all that. So I'm sure they must have done their homework properly on that, and they're basically doing not for China's point of view. It is basically for the development of the country also, in terms of economic activities or defenses also related to the country. So I'm sure they must be looking into it from that point of view also. It is not that it will, whatever is happening will benefit China only. It's the country, and if they're putting money into that subject or whatever those fields or those sectors, they must be looking into that.
What would be the thinking in Washington about this particular development? Because India is obviously their biggest pawn for Asia Pacific strategy of United States, and if at all China is allowed to have a stronger footprint in Bay of Bengal, this will definitely challenge the Indian strategy of promoting Asia Pacific interests of United States. So how do you think that India and United States would look at this development?
Well, definitely Washington feels perturbed by these developments, that China is building blocks of neighboring countries through development, through investment, through people-to-people exchanges, trade and commercial activities. Definitely Washington feels perturbed, but at the same time Washington is also not having good relations at this point of time, or good contacts with India at the same time, because recently in Pakistan and India conflict, the Indians had a different view and Washington had a different view, and both were not on the same page. So Washington definitely, if India is isolated in the region, definitely Washington is also feeling definitely an alien in this region and now Bangladesh, which it claims to be the sole, the owner or the player in the Bay of Bengal. So without Bangladesh participation or support, no country can be as active or can be welcome in the Bay of Bengal too. So that's why. And now coming to his people, that how Bangladesh, China is why China, if the central government, China has always invested in the people. Whatever government is there, the people of that country have always remained friendly with China. That is the reason that even in Pakistan, whatever government, China being a trustworthy friend and ally, has always got the support of every government. So is the case in Bangladesh, that whichever government comes in Bangladesh, the people of Bangladesh, the government of Bangladesh will stay friendly with China.
Tanveer, this particular meeting has taken place at not so senior level, I would say. It was at Deputy Foreign Minister's level. Pakistan was represented by
Additional
Secretary from Foreign Office, and Bangladesh was represented by Acting Foreign Secretary Ruhul Alam, and Deputy Foreign Minister of China, Mr. Wiang, if I remember the name correctly, he was there. Now this important launching of trilateral meeting has taken place at this level. Do you think that is it meant to test the waters, and then these three countries, particularly China, would see as to how the countries in the region or all over the world they react to this development, and it is certainly going to raise its level, and maybe at the heads of government or maybe heads of state level, because the decisions or the area of cooperation that is mentioned in the communique is quite broad, and some serious strategic decisions are likely to be taken in future. So do you think that this level would be increased in future?
I'm sure they must have got the guidance and everything from their leadership, and whatever is the okay, I'll start again. Ayaz, as you pointed out, I'm sure they must have got the guidance from the leadership, whatever the task was given to the agenda of the meeting. And this is not new in a sense that, Pakistan, Bangladesh, China has come up. China has taken initiative on Afghanistan also. Similarly, Pakistan, Afghanistan, China meetings were held, and some other forums also. So I'm sure they know what they're doing and they have done their homework properly. And to see, testing waters is one thing, and naturally if some reaction comes to whatever the communique or the outcome of this initial meeting will be seen, and how they move from there onwards. If the level is raised from a additional secretary level or a deputy foreign minister's level to a higher level, so it will take some time. It can't be that in a very quick time you come to the other levels and reach the head of states. So they'll see how things work, how do they get response from these countries as well as the neighboring or the people who are a little worried of these new collaborations.
Amjad, let me ask you an interesting question. Despite all this cozying up between Bangladesh and Pakistan, the historical irritants remain in place, which have been flagged in the recent Foreign Secretaries meeting which took place in Dhaka. The questions of apology and reparations, etc., they were flagged by the Bangladeshi side. Now, do you think that with China being the bigger partner, in this trilateral cooperation, do you think that the future government in Bangladesh will still continue to come closer to Pakistan despite the irritants, or do you think that with the presence of China in this triangle, the irritants existing between Pakistan and Bangladesh can actually be resolved in near future?
Well, this is an historical baggage which the two countries have been carrying for the last 50 years. And it is definitely going to be resolved or cooled down with the passage of time after meeting over a period of time. So this is, and this meeting of trilateral meeting is the first step. And the three countries have agreed to set up a joint working group, and have also, identified areas, fields like economy, agriculture, trade, education, culture, people-to-people exchanges, so many investment, infrastructure development. So I think this is a positive and I must say very important, gathering and event. And let's look forward and be positive and optimistic that things are going to be going in a very positive and encouraging way.
Tanveer, recently our Field Marshal had a lunch with Mr. Trump, and we do not know what transpired between the two, but I'm sure that our Field Marshal must have been advised to remain cautious about moving too closer to China. Now this trilateral cooperation has taken place, and as you said that the level is going to increase, and particularly Pakistan and Bangladesh, who are also partners in defense cooperation as well. Pakistan has been supplying some military hardware to Bangladesh as well. Now, will this provide an opportunity for Pakistan to have a stronger footprint in Bangladesh, or it will be an exclusive territory of influence for the Chinese, and how Pakistan would tread between the two? We have to walk a real tightrope walk between United States and China, as is the case with Bangladesh.
Well, Ayaz, first of all, I would like to clarify that I was not part of the meeting, and whatever you're saying, I will not like to really comment on it, because this was not kind of a question I think they should be discussing at that level. It was more of a, talking of the Iran-Israel and war or whatever was happening. That was more important. I think Bangladesh, China would have not mattered at that time.
In 1971, Pakistan was the first country to build the bridge of connection between China and the United States of America. And that was also the reason of stopping the Indo-China war in Vietnam and Cambodia and Laos. And after that, US President Nixon visited, China and met Zhou Enlai. And what he said to President Nixon: don't forget the friends who played the bridge role in this meeting. So definitely Pakistan will play a role of a bridge between the two countries, even in this situation. Although we are not privy to the meeting, but definitely there were some positive, and our side must have told them very positive about the role of China in the region.
That's very encouraging. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your participation. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard the views of our participants.